Hello, Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce members. This is Drew Camp, President and CEO of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, here for our April 14th weekly legislative update. There's not a lot of new things to discuss this week. We are seeing some movement on some key pieces of legislation, but it was largely focused around property tax. This week, we did see the House Ways and Means Committee unanimously pass a bill that essentially is about $200 million in property tax relief and would cap growth at 3% for those taxing entities. So that's something that we continue to watch. But one thing to keep in mind is it's a very fluid situation, and there's still a gap between the House and the Senate on this issue. So it remains to be seen if anything will be able to get done on this bill going forward. Another topic that's caught a lot of media attention this week is obviously the bill that the Representative Kaufman, the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, who's also the son of the Iowa GOP chair, Jeff Kaufman. They have a bill that's really trying to, in their opinion, mitigate risk of New Hampshire triggering their state law if the Democrats do decide to go forward and do a mail-in system for their caucuses, as being potentially discussed as an option for 2024 and forward. That's something that the New Hampshire Secretary of State wrote a memo to the New Hampshire Republican chair and others that said that this could be an issue that we may trigger our law that says we have to be first in the nation primary if Iowa decides to move in a fashion that too closely resembles a primary, which obviously they're saying that mail-in system that's being considered could potentially do. So that's something that we're watching kind of closely, just insofar as that obviously Iowa Chamber Alliance, chambers in general, have been beating the drum over and over, whether it was on the Democratic side when they were considering us as an option for the first in the nation or the first five in their new early nominating schedule. And then now on to obviously just trying to do everything we can to make the GOP caucus in 2024 the most successful, to try to show people that Iowa is the state that should, on both sides, for both the Democrats and Republicans, be utilized for the early nominating process as the first in the nation. So that's something we continue to watch very closely. We'll continue to do everything we can on a very nonpartisan, bipartisan basis, simply on the fact that it is a huge economic impact to have these. We've done a very good job of doing them over the last previous decades since we've had the first in the nation caucuses on both sides. So as a chamber and as a chamber alliance, we're going to continue to beat that drum to make sure that everyone knows that we want to do everything we can to retain our first in the nation status for a litany of different reasons, but really just obviously the exposure it gives the state of Iowa and the economic impact that it has that's so important to all of our communities. So we'll continue to do that going forward, again, on a nonpartisan and by a nonpartisan basis that we hope will impact positively both parties, first in the nation caucuses going forward, but especially obviously making sure that we can do everything we can to make sure that the 2024 GOP caucuses are going to be the best possible, because those are the ones that are actually happening in the state of Iowa in 2024. So we want to make sure that we do everything we can to showcase Iowa in a positive light, and we'll continue to keep you abreast of any developments on that topic. Another piece that I want to touch on just really quickly is we're continuing to see some other policy bills that are moving through the legislature. We're going to continue to beat the drum on port authorities, on land development trusts, on some other pieces of legislation that are still kind of moving along as we look at the budgets and as we look at tax reform and things along those lines that can kind of take up a lot of time at this time in session. But as a reminder, 2 weeks is their targeted adjournment. April 28th is the targeted adjournment, at which points their per diems, their clerks, other things cease. So that is supposed to be kind of an impetus to try to get them to end by that time. So we will wait and see what happens on that front. With that, I will conclude our weekly legislative update for this week, and just simply, again, as I always do, say thank you so much for your ongoing support of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce. Have a nice rest of the day.